Creative Signs, we make large and small property and business signs, full-color, digitally printed banners, as well as vinyl lettered ones for celebrating special events. Yard signs for selling your home or making special announcements like your graduating senior. Turn your vehicle into a moving billboard with vehicle lettering or magnetics. Creative Signs, Monroe, 770-267-7368.
So tonight is Techniques for Photographing Your Artwork by Dan Toman. And I want to say thank you for our sponsors, which are Dr. and Mrs. Wayne Halsey. So without their sponsorship, we wouldn't be able to send out these postcards to all of our membership, provide the reception food, and all those other expenses and flowers and so forth. So thank you so much for coming out tonight and being supportive of what we do. Am I forgetting anything, Susan? Okay, very good. All right, and please welcome Dan Toman.
Hi, my name is Dan. Thank you for going through this. If you have a question, ask. And I also would like to thank the sponsors that are doing, for allowing us to come in and give these talks. Tonight, what I'm going to be speaking about is how to photograph both your 2D and 3D artwork. I don't know who to credit this definition of what the difference is between 2 and 3D artwork, but it was described 3D artwork or sculpture is what you bump into when you're backing up to look at the real art on the wall. Now, I am a sculptor, so that was like, but anyway, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I can't even begin to tell you how many hours and hours and hours I've spent trying to get things right. Because when Plato would first say, oh, photograph some of my paintings, I'd go out there and look a photo and come in and she'd look at it and go, nope, not right. I'm like, okay, I'd check it, okay, it's off a little bit here. Because if photographing 2D artwork is actually very simple, it's technically very demanding. You have to have the plane of the camera and the plane of the canvas exactly parallel to each other. If you don't, if the painting's leaning a little like this, when you look at it in the picture, it'll be like this. The other way, skewed back and forth. And while you as a photographer might not notice it, I will guarantee you the artist will. This isn't right, do it again. So anyway, I came up with a lot of different ways, and this easel here has had a bunch of different lives. What I finally came up, the easiest way to do it is, I like, again, keep it easy, so I use string. First thing to do is, these two are set up equal distance from the back from my easel, so everything's equidistant. So I just use that to, I'm going to move this back a little bit so I'm not bouncing into the computer. And this makes it easy because when you put it up on the table, I used to try and line up the table with a line in the floor and get this exactly the same distance from everything. And I had lines there, lines in the floor, all the way across just to make sure I could get the camera exactly perpendicular to the plane of the easel. This just makes it easy. It's two strings that are both equal distance long. Run it to the center of the lens, and you're done. That's really all there is to that. And that basically lines your camera up perfectly with the easel. Now, there's still other adjustments we're going to have to make, but that takes care of probably the most difficult. When I came in, what I did was try and just use it a level. You see, all I've got here is just a yardstick. Make sure that this easel's level to the ground. So I got it pretty close. Your floor in here is very lopsided. Next, what I do is, just measure two things: the diameter of the picture and the width. The width on this one is remember anything.
12 3/8.
No, that's diameter. Okay, 17, so 8.5. I've got a place here marked in the middle. Just move the ruler to 8.5. Set the photo there. So now that part of it's square to the camera. It just holds it there. Now I like to measure. It's really pretty close. You want to make sure, it's not leaning back and forward. So this type of a setup really just makes it just that easy. Whereas before with this easel, you can't see all the back of it, but it moves, it tilts, it goes up and down. These screws go in to lean it back and forward. So I tried everything, and this was the absolute easiest way I came up with doing it. Next, Linda said 12 3/8. Now, on a painting like Linda's, oils or acrylic, you can just measure a diagonal and put a little teeny piece of tape right on the painting. Don't tell the artist, they get all kinds of upset. So actually, an easier way, and I'll tell you why in a second. A little bit of tape on a frame, I don't think anybody's going to complain too much about. Now to get the exact center of that, I measured it earlier, which was 24 3/4, so 12 3/8. This is where I forgot my tape measure. Yes. You're not going to guess, you're going to measure this. I got 2 things on my list. Checked off everything. Got the extension cord, got my tape measure. So you measure to the center and just put a piece of tape there. And you're fine. You've got the exact center of the picture. The picture's exactly centered with the camera because of the screen. It's exactly perpendicular to the ground, and you can check that with the level. So the only thing you have left to do is make sure that the camera is level and completely perpendicular to the ground. One of the easier ways to do that, we're trying to go cost conscious tonight, is a little bubble level. They're like $12, $15, and they do a very good job. Now, fortunately, on this camera, it has an electronic level. So I can just only go one direction. I don't know if you all can see that. So it's right now it's perfectly level in both directions. Now all I have to do is get the exact center of the lens lined up on my thing that just fell. And I'll tell you the reason I went to using a string method instead of just putting a little tiny piece of tape on the middle is because every time I did that, I went and took the pictures and forgot to take the tape off. I'd go inside, bring it up, start to do the cropping and look real close. And it's like, yeah. So when you're going to move the camera to try and get it lined up, the tripod and the base and everything are set perfect to that. So the only thing you can really move is the camera. If you kick your tripod leg, move it or something, you have to start over. Now the way I have the camera set up on this one, you have many different focus points in there. You can have it do it automatically or manually. I just set it so that it only shows, actually, let me see if I can get this to show up on the computer. So basically what I'm doing is using the center focus point. And lining that center focus point up on that center spot in the photo. Once you've done that, you're lined up perfectly parallel in, all three dimensions. And your picture won't come out, either barreled or pincushioned or skewed one way or another. Is any of this making sense?
Has anybody seen pictures taken like that? Barreled or, off? You look at the errors, not the picture. And that's
taking a picture of like a building, up real close to the wide angle, it's always going to be skewed. Now you can go in Photoshop or half a dozen other photo editing packages, and have ways to correct that. The artist will always know, because it just won't be exactly right. And they will spot it in a second. Okay, what okay, what you're seeing here is what I'm seeing through the camera. Or at least it's supposed to be. And well, square here is a whole lot bigger than the little square you see there. You can see the tape, and what we're trying to do is get it right in the middle there.
It's sideways.
Does anybody need to change their seat so they can see the computer?
Yeah, you probably do.
Yeah, we tricked you into one seat that is.
Exact center focus point is locked in on this position. And the other nice thing about this is you can either use the edge of the frame of what you're seeing through the viewfinder, or this one has grid lines. You can fine tune your tilt a little bit, because this table, I have a half inch of stuff under this side. The table's still leaning a little bit. That's why you saw that it was crooked. Because the camera is completely level, but the picture is not. So you can, tweak it like changing, you're still keeping the plane the same, but you can turn, the camera a little bit. But the plane of the camera and the canvas are saying exactly the same. So you don't get any distortion. Basically then, it's just a matter, remember, take your center marker off, and you snap your picture.
So you go through that elaborate thing to get it mathematically in the right place, but your eye is the final judge.
If it comes to push or shove, I trust the electronics. Like you always said, I'm a little skewed anyway. And just let the camera take a picture. Now, try it again. Went through all this trouble to get the computer and all this other stuff. Of course, now it won't. If anybody has questions, please ask. Because going through it like this, it actually, seems. As for lights, I found I do a lot of different things depending on the artwork. It's not reflective paint. I've just got one great big huge studio flash which I use. But for doing it, yourself at home, or if you want to get into it, a small setup like this, with you're talking $200 for the fluorescent types. Do not buy a tungsten type. They're very, very fragile. It's like a regular light bulb. You look at them and they break, and they're $8 or $9 a piece. And the heat is just unbearable for you. If it takes a while, it probably could damage the painting. And the easiest way I found to do this is just a standard, I think what they call the butterfly setup. Just two lights. You kind of need to make sure that you have them both set about the same. You really want to get picky, you can do like a pencil in the middle to see if one shadow's going somewhere else or not, and I've never really found that necessary. The thing about light stands is, buy the best that you can get if you're going to buy them. These are extremely cheap, so you have to be real careful about all your weight goes out over a leg. And when we get into some of the 3D stuff, I'll show you when you get lights and stuff hanging out on the end. It just gets wobbly and starts doing this and moving around. And, so it's worth it to spend. These are probably $30 a piece. A good one's probably $100. So that's the same. These lights are, like I said, very inexpensive, not really made for fluorescent, so you can see half the fluorescent light sticking out in front of the reflector, so you're losing all that light. It's really a big waste. Now these umbrellas that I'm using are fairly small. Anytime, photography is all about light. And, for most things you want a soft light. That means the bigger it is, the softer it is. So you use different types of light modifiers to, control that, make it bigger, smaller. These are set up right now as shoot through. You can put a black cover with a reflector on them, turn them around and use it as a reflector. Light actually goes in and then reflects out, makes it a little bit bigger still. And these umbrellas these are relatively small. I've got umbrellas that are 6 feet in diameter. So, like I said, the bigger the light, the softer it is. And it doesn't make much of a difference on a painting. I can show you some photos if I can get the computer working, where using a bigger light source, you actually see it wrap around the sculpture and really creates a much nicer, more 3D type image. It doesn't look just flat.
So what's the cost of the umbrellas?
How much would you like to spend? Anywhere from $12 for this. The big one I bought for the Einstein was probably $80 or $90. And you can probably spend $400 or $500 if you want to. And you have other things like soft boxes, just all kinds of lighting options out there depending on what you want to do. Most of those really make a difference if you're doing, the 3D, the sculpture, and especially if you're doing portraits. Light is just so critical when you're doing, pictures of people and trying to, make them look good.
And where would be a good source for this equipment?
Amazon is a good one, Adorama, and B&H Video. Those are pretty much the three I use. All three of them have good products, good customer service. If you don't get what you want, they take care of it. And generally, you might find cheaper prices, but it's going to be on eBay or, you know, Johnny, we're here today, photography, gone tomorrow, yeah, have your money. So those three are very reputable. And I used to always recommend using, you know, a local camera shop. You know, you need to support the local economy and all, but there just aren't any anymore.
Showcase downtown Atlanta's got a lot of good stuff.
Showcase isn't too bad, but I like, you know, Wolf and Ritz, all,
Gone.
you know, they just got so out of control, especially with prices and then customer service. And it was Wolf, Ritz that got into it with Canon, and, you know, weren't paying their bills, so they lost all the Canon equipment. And that was.
So couldn't you hire two teenage kids from the neighborhood and get two white umbrellas from Walmart? And
No, you
say,
cannot.
That would
Would
not.
be roasted, probably.
You cannot. These are photographic umbrellas. They are of a very specific
And the
color.
teenagers wouldn't be still. What's the wattage on the lights?
the kids would like
These are running about 45.
What?
We have some bigger ones that are like 70. Like I said, for most 2D artwork, I don't really find going much bigger necessary. And if I do, I have, like I said, I have some studio flashes. And I also have, you know, regular camera flashes, which you're probably familiar with.
Is it just any fluorescent 45-watt light? No.
No,
It's
it
what?
has to be a photographic quality. They have a very specific color temperature, and they don't flicker. They're, you know, price is getting better, but for one of the other ones might cost you $3 or $4, these will cost you $15. But you really have to have them. Now, the only other thing about taking photos like this, I'll tell you what I did with it. Now, if we're talking about light as a gray card, and I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with that. It just gives, it's an 18% gray. It gives you a neutral color in there that when you go back into your photo editing software, maybe I'll use editing software. But, you know, you can go in and use what they call a color picker on that, and it'll pretty much figure out what color temperature the photo was shot at, so that your colors come out right. Now, if I can this thing work in it.
I guess the first thing you need is your camera.
Actually, you know, you can do this with like the point and shoot.
Okay.
You have to have a tripod.
Have to have a tripod.
You have to have a good tripod. You have to have a way of moving the camera
The
head.
camera's like a digital regular.
Yeah.
Not so the camera's not quite as important.
Well, it's always probably the most important thing.
But you can do it with your.
Yeah. I just have no clue where these photos are even going.
And we got computer genius.
Cyberspace.
That is not me.
It was set up so
Is there any computer genius in the room? It's Jackie's fault. She's pushing Halloween up.
that's because that's what the camera's trying to make everything for the price thing is a neutral gray. So if you have the neutral gray card in there, what I can do, this is the dropper I was talking about, and click on the gray, and can you see what it did to the color? And that looks, it's still a little, it's much closer. How much closer that is now to what was actually there.
Can you go back for a second?
that is because we have all these different kinds of lights in here. The black ceiling's quite good. We have light reflecting off the walls, which is a different color. And that influences really, because you're not really seeing the color that's there, you're seeing what's reflected. Like most artists, like my wife, go, black is all color. Black is no color. White is all color. Well, think about prism and the sunlight coming through and reflecting the rainbow. Now, when you're mixing paints, you get black and whatever, and that's because you're seeing what's reflected.
So if you were taking this picture for real, would you just have those two umbrella lights
And not that
and
one.
not anything else?
Yeah, there are ways around that. If you have 2 or 3 teenagers,
Oh, the teenagers get work out.
or I could set this up with one of the other arms and hold this, and basically what you would do is come out and block out all the other light. Now this gets much more important when you're doing sculpture, because especially if it's still a reflective surface on it, you really get the most crazy reflections on there that you can't do anything back.
I do glass.
Glass is a whole,
And
but I can help you with
I
that.
do 3D glass.
I can help
And
you photograph that.
good, yeah, because it's reflection is awful.
Yeah. Now the other thing, now we're getting around this, is always use a polarizing filter. It can immediately solve probably 80% of your reflection problems. Now on this one, it's not going to make any difference where I turn it, because that's really not a reflective picture or frame. I was going to bring one that was a lot more reflective on a nice cherry frame that I made for it, and I'm not going to tell into this, but I dropped it and broke the frame. So that's why it's not here. I had that set up so I could actually on the camera turn the polarizer and show how those reflections just disappeared. Okay. And the reason I like a black background, it makes it a little bit easier to crop. A couple other things. I've got a cheat sheet here. I've got 5 or 6 others if anybody wants copies of this. It goes through exactly how to set up every step, sort of cookbook. If anybody wants to try it. The other important thing is to clean your art. I cannot tell you how many times I put one of Linda's pictures up there. Around where we live, you leave something sit for a day, there's going to be a spider web on it. Especially 3D stuff, dust, dirt. And when you get it on the computer and you're looking at it, you're just going to go, oh, here I go again. Remember to take a piece of tape off, and now I have dirt everywhere. If you're just doing, really small files to email or put on, a little one for a website or a newsletter, it's not that much of a problem. But if you're, wanting to do a portfolio, it'll just glare. You might as well take a magic marker and go on like that, because that's the first thing anybody will look at is that big piece of dirt or a little piece of cobweb or whatever. So clean your art. You need to use compressed air. What I found is just a nice little. None of you all have any brushes, right? And just don't have to do it hard. If you're doing pastels or something, that probably wouldn't work. But for most things, that's very important, is get your art clean. Can't tell you how many times I've had to reshoot stuff because I've missed a little piece of dirt, a little piece of a spider web, or something like that. Any more questions about 2D art? I think I've made it look fairly simple. I said, once you get the setup, it is. I mean, right now, all I have to do is keep putting pieces of art up there, move the camera up and down, and have everyone named. But getting, to this point is going to take you 30 minutes or so. It usually takes me 3 hours to get it all set up. Of course, I'm an anal perfectionist engineer in the former life, so. But it does make a difference. And if you're doing it for someone else, other artists, they will notice. If it's not color corrected, they will notice.
Did you make the
easel?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use any really, the commercially available ones that are, vertical. And I think most of those have enough movement. Of course, not the ones that are in a triangle. But like I said, I went through a lot of different things trying to find an easy way to do this. And then finally one day sitting there, the string method dawned on me. It's simple, it's quick. And as long as 2 pieces are equal length, it works every time. Even if I turn that whole thing sideways, it put me about right over there, but it'd be perfect where I need it to be.
So then if you're working in a room that has windows, you should pull the shades down and just get as much light out as possible.
Yes, it's sometimes very, very difficult to do, and you can spend a lot of time with a gray card if afterwards trying to correct everyone. Sometimes if you're doing 8 or 10 and the light conditions are the same, you can correct one and then just apply it to the other, so it's fairly quick. But then again, it might not always work.
So you're better off taking them at night.
Yes, or just have a studio that you can block out most of the light, which is what I try and do. I have fluorescent lights in the studio and a couple windows which have got real thick curtains on. And still, when I'm doing the 3D stuff, it just causes me fits. Basically you have to turn all the lights off, and then you're working in almost dark, because with a lot of that I use either the strobes or flashes, and then you can't focus because you don't have any light.
So took a picture and put it on a white wall and tried to take a picture.
I've tried that. I've never been able to get it completely parallel. It's going to be hanging on a nail or a hook or something, so the picture's going to be, a little off somewhere. So walls I found are, like, that's sort of what I tried with this to begin with. Just did not work very well.
What about if you're doing a big piece, a big canvas, a very large canvas?
It's, if you're like in a museum and wanting to do a great big one. Now, with this kind of setup, I could probably do almost any size, because I can modify this very quickly to, if you got a 6-pack, painting, I can get that right. So that's not a problem. If you're photographing in a museum, it can be very, very difficult. I would say the shooting a frame is the hardest thing, because you have the frame. And if it's off a little bit someplace, that just will, this is like a neon light going, I'm cockeyed, I'm off a little bit. Because the human eye can, will perceive that 3 sides are a little bit thicker than the 4th one where you cut it off because it was skewed. If you don't have a frame on it, it makes it much easier, because you'd never see that. Because you're going to, crop where, the canvas curves around, you're going to crop that off anyway. So that makes it much easier. So probably what I would do in a museum, if they insisted on the frame, basically what you have to do is figure out the angle that the painting's hanging at, get an inclinometer, and then set your camera at the same thing.
So maybe if I took an easel and then put a big piece of plywood on the back of it, maybe covered it in a black sheet or something, and then put the thing on, that would work?
Yeah,
Better than
but
a
that
wall.
has to be, you know.
Well, it's got to be up, straight up, right?
So that's why I sort of like this, and the way I've got it set up is that back can be leaned, tilted, but the painting, you know, since I've leveled it, is still straight up and down. So you get rid of that distortion there.
So if you had a 5-foot-high painting, you could use that setup you have right there. You just have to extend the back, the black up behind it.
It depends on the painting. I might not. I might just put it up against the wall. Because I have enough control over the light that what's reflecting off the wall is where you can have problems. It won't affect the painting. I can just, you know, hit it with so much light that anything else is just blacked out. In fact, you can do that on a bright sunshiny day. I don't know if you remember any of my hummingbird pictures where you know, you see the bird and the background's black. Those are taken on a bright day. You just hit the object with so much light very, very quickly, and everything else turns black. It's inverse distance squared. The farther you are from the light source, you know, you've got half at 2 feet that you did at 1. You've got a quarter, or what is it, a ninth at 3 feet that you did at 1. So it falls off by the square. So if something's, you know, not very far behind it, you can still turn it black by having a very, very bright flash, very short duration. So you have techniques like that you know, can work for different things. This will work for most things you do, like your collages or any, you know, regular paintings. You might have to watch it if you're using something with a very high, you know, very, very reflective coating. The polarizing filter might not take care of the problem. So, don't know that we'll have time tonight. I don't know how long am I supposed to talk or how long I've been talking.
How are we running out of time, Brian?
Another half an hour. So.
Okay. I've always really kind of liked using flashes. The advantage to the continuous light is what you see is what you get. You know, you see a shadow, it's going to be in the photograph. If you don't see it, it's going to be fine. Now, with flashes and strobes, you don't have that opportunity. It's you know, you're looking at it, and the flashes go off, and you look at the picture and go, ugh, okay, I need to move this or this. But getting back to the reflectivity and like doing your glass work, this is something that might work. Most of the time, if you're photographing glass, I would either have your light source through a diffuser behind it or under it. So there are ways to stop that. But what I do quite a bit with some of my wood turning, it's very, you know, or the stone sculpture especially, which has a very glossy surface, which I can show you on the computer in a minute. We'll start talking about that. The way I can get rid of almost all of any reflection is I'm using a polarizer on the camera, and you know, light's both a particle and a wave, and a polarizer, you know, it's going like this. It cuts out one or the other, and so that cuts down a lot of the reflection. Now, what I did here, my little homemade job, is I got some polarizing screen and put, you know, had to make a little box. When I first tried this, I put that stuff right on the end of this and it burned a hole through it. Live and learn. But anyway, what I do is, you know, set the flash up to shoot like this, you know, look through the camera, turn the polarizer on there so that this turns black. Then when you take the picture, it's not quite like you have two polarizing lenses, but it will knock out virtually every bit of reflection. So has its drawbacks. You take an awful lot of pictures trying to get things right and move your flash just where you need to be. Other problems, you can't use any light modifiers because once it goes through the light modifier, all the light waves are going to be going every direction again, so you might as well not have a polarizer to begin with. So, unless you want to buy a great big one to put in front of it. So now everybody's completely confused.
Okay, you have like polarized lens on the camera, say vertical, and polarized on that horizontal that we talked about doing, canceling each other out.
Yes. Well, they don't cancel each other out.
I mean,
What this one does is the stray light that's coming down and causing that reflection, it will cancel that out. And then the stray lights that are coming in from the flash with the other direction will cancel those
but you have them like vertical and horizontal opposite each other.
Right. Yeah, you can't really do that on the lens because it just turns black. But on the reflected light, it works great. And again, it depends on what either you as the artist or your client wants. Some people like a little bit of shadow, a little bit of reflection. They think, it might give you an idea of, that it is a glossy surface or a little bit of a reflective surface. If you're doing something like for a museum or something and they're just doing something for documenting artwork, they don't want shadows, they don't want reflections, anything like that, so it's a whole different ball game there.
Hi, I'm Jody Johnson here with the Recreation Report. Happy New Year to everyone, and I know the New Year's resolutions are flowing throughout, and everybody, the number one resolution is to get healthy and fit and lose weight, and our community centers are a great place to do that. It's an affordable place for you to do that. They were funded by your SPLOST dollars, built a few years ago, and we have some of the nicest healthcare equipment upstairs, and we also have a full slate of programs that we have to offer you. I have Dennis Malcolm here with me today to talk a little bit about those programs that we offer at our community centers. And Dennis is not new to the county as an employee, but is now our person that is over all the community centers, the one at Felker Park and the one in Meridian, and all the programs that we have. And he's doing a great job of keeping our programs busy and keeping the citizens coming in and all the programs that we have. So Dennis, tell us a little bit about the programs that we have. If anyone's looking, I know they can always go to our website, but tell us a little bit about some of the new programs that we have.
Well, we're very excited to be starting the new year off. Felker, we having some new classes coming this year. Starting January 7th. We'll be having a hip hop class as well as a ballet class. Also, we're going to have a lady teaching a kid fit class. So if any of your kids want to come and do an exercise, she'll be teaching the class both at Felker and Meridian. Mondays at Felker, and then she'll be at Meridian on Tuesdays. Also, we have a burst training class, which is very new to me, and we'll be. It's very different. You just take short burst intervals, 30 seconds, and rest, and then go for 30 seconds again. It just keeps your metabolism going very quick.
So basically, you go into the classes, and what are some of the prices per average? I know we're not going to go through each one of those, so you certainly go to our website at waltoncountyga.gov, and we keep that updated. And we do have a limited number of people that can be in these programs, and there are a lot of people at the classes. If you walk in at Meridian Park in Loganville, it sounds like there's a disco going on sometimes with all the different music going on in the different classes. I see Zumba still going on, and that's a very popular class. What are some of the classes that are probably the most populated?
Most of them are the popular classes we have right now are Zumba and, like he said, hip hop. Most of those classes run around between $3 for members and $5 for non-members, and which is still not a bad deal for our non-members.
Yeah, and the classes, even to become a member of our community centers, it costs $2 per week per family, and we prorate that from July 1st through June 30th. So right now it's only a 6-month deal that you're pretty much locking yourself into, which is around
$52.
$52 for the year for your family. So the price of 1 month's membership at any other gym, we're going to offer you 6 months for your entire family to come in. Now we do have limitations of what some people can do by your age. Our classes, I don't know, would you have an age group on your classes as well? How old do you have to be to participate?
There's no age limit. The only thing with that membership, you will have to be required to purchase a membership card. That's just a one-time fee of $20. As long as you never lose that card, you won't have to purchase that again.
And kids 12 and up have to have an adult supervising them, and even upstairs, I don't think 12 are allowed.
No, you got to be 16 and above to be upstairs.
To be able to work out with the equipment. That's just for safety. But for the classes that we have, there's not an age limit. You know, they pay and they go in. Of course, the younger kids don't really want some of these classes, but for teenagers to adults, a lot of people enjoy the hip hop, to the Zumba, to the latest music you hear up there. I know I have a daughter, and every time she hears it, she wants to jump in and start basically dancing to those classes, and it's a way of getting in shape to music, and it doesn't seem like you're truly working out, more like having a good time. And again, during basketball season, our gyms are being used by our basketball teams. And we have over 1,000 kids participating in our basketball program, our youth basketball program. Our adult basketball program will start here in the next couple of weeks. And so that does cramp us for space. Even though we have a pretty large community centers, we still have to find creative ways and of putting all these classes in. So right now some of our classes at night are in the smaller rooms, so there is limited space available. So if you are interested in doing that, you might want to come check them out. A lot of times they'll let you view the classes before you have to do anything permanent or make any financial commitment. So come out to our community centers. We invite you to Felker Park or at Meridian Park. You can also go to our website at waltoncountyga.gov, and we look forward to seeing you come out. You can also come out and just work out, get on our treadmills, our ellipticals, or just walk the 1/16 mile walking track that's upstairs. And nowadays, when the weather like it is, it's very nice to be able to work out in a climate controlled space. I also want to invite you to come out to register for our spring sports programs. That includes our baseball, our softball, our track and field, soccer. All these programs, I know it doesn't feel like spring yet, but it is just right around the corner. We'll register January 7th through the 14th. The cost of most of our programs are $70 or less. So come out and register at one of our community centers in Monroe, Loganville, or Social Circle for our youth spring sports program. And we look forward to seeing you at one of our local parks or our community centers. Thanks again, Dennis, for coming out and enlightening us about some of our programs that we're offering you. And if you're also wanting to come and instruct one of our programs, give us a call, give Dennis a call, and we're here to serve you. And until next time, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Judy Ashley, Walton County Extension Coordinator. Today I'm out here at the Walton County Ag Center for our first session of the Youth Leadership Walton program. Youth Leadership Walton is an 8-session program. It's about 4 months long, of high school students, primarily juniors from each of the high schools in Walton County. They were selected from an application process from each of the schools and recommended by someone, possibly a teacher or a counselor at their school, to participate. And today we're going to be having a great time with team building activities led by Nikki Knox of the Georgia EMC. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce our co-chairs of the Youth Leadership Walton. On my left and your right, I have Lisa Humphreys with Legacy Bank. She is our co-chair this year, sharing that position with Patty Souther on my right with Souther Insurance. Excuse me, Patty, if I messed that up. Okay. We also have 3 of our students that are participating in the program, and I just wanted for you to meet them and give them an opportunity to answer a few questions about the program. This is their first session. They've only been here for about an hour this morning, but I would like to start with you, Jacob. If you'd step up to the mic, what do you hope to get out of the Youth Leadership Program, and why did you apply?
Well, I applied because I'm an Eagle Scout and I'm also a leader in George Walton's band program, and I hope to get a stronger foundation in leadership, especially being a senior and trying out for one of the top positions in the band program. And I hope to learn a lot about team building and motivation and working well with other people, you know, all different kinds of people.
Okay. And thank you very much, Jacob. If you'd come up, introduce yourself, and tell us what school you're from. That's okay.
I'm Chastity Williams, and I'm from Social Circle High School. I'm a junior, and I wanted to join the program because it would help me gain leadership skills and, you know, helping me to communicate with other people and, you know, just getting to interact with different people around the area. So
sounds good. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Victoria Williams from Monroe Area High School, where I'm a junior. I wanted to be a part of this program because I felt that it would be really good to open my eyes to business in Walton County and see some economic development, and hopefully find ways to work with community service that will best impact the economic development and issues we may be facing here in Walton County.
That's awesome. Great goals. Thank you. And each of their hopes for the program, we hope, will be filled because all of those things will be touched on. If I didn't mention it before, the program is sponsored by the Walton County Chamber of Commerce and the Leadership Walton Alumni Association. The graduates, the alumni of the Leadership Walton Alumni Association are volunteers that lead each of the sessions. We have sessions on etiquette, interviewing, economic development, a lot of personal development skills, excuse me, and as I said, there's 7 or 8 sessions that will be covering all this with a graduation at the end. So if you need more information or you have a student that may be interested in the future, you can call the Walton County Chamber of Commerce at 770-267-6594. Or you can call me at my office, which is the Walton County Extension Office, at 770-267-1324, and we'll be glad to fill you in on the Youth Leadership Walton program in the upcoming class of 2014. So for the 2013 class, we're off to a great start today, and we enjoy you learning about the program, and we're going to get back to the session now. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Dina Huff, Executive Director for the Partnership for Families, Children, and Youth here in Walton County. And I hope that you all had a wonderful Christmas and you've started off your new year in a positive way. We here at the Partnership certainly want to make 2013 the best year ever. I would like to just give you a few updates today. Don't have any real big new news for you, but we're just going to start full force with our meetings. Our next collaborative meeting, which you are invited to attend, is going to be Tuesday, January 15th. And those meetings are at Felker Community Center here in Monroe, and they begin at 8 o'clock. And we have several different representatives that attend those meetings. If you're just inquisitive and want to know what we're all about, I invite you to attend. If you have a business or you do things in the community that you want to get the word out, spread the word to the community, please give me a call, and I'd certainly like to invite you to attend to see what we do, and then perhaps get on a future agenda for the meetings. Also, moving forward in 2013, we hope to make available to Walton County and surrounding areas our new bullying video that was actually put together by our Youth Development Coordinator, Amy Honeywell. We've worked on this for several months. We've had several families and students to help us with this, and they will be in the video as well. We hope this will be a successful thing for the partnership, and we would like to promote that and make this available for families. There will be a cost for the video. We hope to share this with the school system, and they will promote this as well in the school system. But we hope that will be ready sometime in January or February. Also, I want to remind you about our Red Book. This is a wonderful resource guide for parents with youth in the home. The topics, there are different topics: drugs and alcohol, premature engagement and sexual activity, teenage pregnancy, unruly behavior and behavior issues, mental health issues, just several different topics that that might be of interest to a parent raising a teenager. We have these available. They are $5 per copy, but if you order them in bulk, they are $3.50. So if you have any questions about those, and we're constantly updating these books because organizations change, people change, people leave, and new people come on board. So we are constantly changing our information in this book. So we invite you to call me, call Amy to reserve a copy. We have those here at the office, and I'll be glad to get one out to you. So please feel free. We have different community organizations that need your help. Fish is one of our biggest partners, and they're always looking for volunteers. We don't always have things going on that we can accept volunteers, but there are certain times during the year that we do need your help. So I would encourage you, if you're looking for an opportunity to get involved in your community, come to our partnership meeting, find out what's going on, and get involved in your community. What a better way to start off 2013. And as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Happy New Year to everyone, and thanks for tuning in today. We're going to show you some of the dogs and cats that are available for adoption here at Walton County Animal Control. We're enjoying kind of our winter slowdown. We don't get as many dogs and cats in, and so what we want to stress is get your animals spayed and neutered before the springtime breeding begins. We've got a lot of resources on our website, waltonpets.net, that list discounts, spay-neuter clinics, vaccinations, but we've also got a special one to tell you about. On January 30th and 31st, the Atlanta Humane Society is bringing a mobile spay-neuter clinic, and they're doing spays and neuters for only $25. That's going to be at Tractor Supply in Monroe. Walk-ins are not accepted, so you have to make an appointment by calling 678-517-2143. Again, that's going to be $25 for cat spays and neuters with a mobile clinic from the Atlanta Humane Society. So take advantage of that. Some volunteers organize that to bring it to our county, so don't let that pass you by. But again, we have a lot of spay-neuter clinics listed on our website. Help us to not have to euthanize so many animals that come in from unwanted breeding. And now we're going to show you some of the dogs and cats here at the shelter. This is Jack. He's a real happy guy. It's pretty interesting if he'll sit still and look at you. He's got one blue eye. Really neat dog. He came in before Christmas and he was real scared, but he's since really come around and will make a great home for somebody. He's heartworm negative, vaccinated, deworm, and he's ready for a new home.
We got a really sweet, like a cinnamon point. It's a male. He's about 6 to 7 months old, not neutered. Seems to be really sweet, just a purring.
This is Tigger. He was turned in by his owners because they couldn't afford to keep him anymore. He's a real good boy. He sits, lays down. He's already neutered. He's heartworm negative, vaccinated. Gets along great with kids and with other dogs. He's a big boy, but he's really well behaved, so he'd make a great addition to any home.
We got a female, medium hair. She's about 4 months old. She's not spayed. She's, as you see, she's wanting to love and rub, get all kinds of attention right now. She's a very sweet cat, needs a good home.
This is a male Chihuahua mix, approximately about 3 years old.